place that is haunted. Right from the start, dear, built on an acre of sand.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zada.
And I'm Kelly. And you're listening to
Two Sides and the Truth. Thanks for joining us again.
We're back finally.
Kelly, fucked that up.
I kind of did. I'm sorry about that. It was all
We're going
my
to go
bad.
into that in a minute because inquiring minds want to know. I know based on the messages and the posts and comments I've received. I want to know what happened to her foot. I have not asked her to tell me the story because I wanted her to tell on the podcast. But first, you have to wait for that. That's the big part of the show. We're going to talk about what I did this weekend and some life lessons I learned. So this weekend, I went to Austin, Texas, and I spent it's about 2.5 hours south of here, and I went to spend it with my older kids, which are 26 and 23, and spend the weekend with them. So my daughter was supposed to be moving, and I was going to help her move, but she found someone else, whatever. So I ended up spending the weekend swimming in Barton Springs. Have you been to Barton Springs before?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so you're familiar.
Yep.
So I grew up going to Barton Springs. I was born in Austin. If you ask anybody from Austin, good luck finding anyone born in Austin. We are unicorns. There are very few true Austinites born prior to like 10 years ago. And it used to be a small city. And the most of the people that live there moved there for college and just didn't leave, whereas I was actually born there. And so I grew up in Barton Springs. And Barton Springs is a little different than other places. It is a part of the Colorado River, which is the river behind the cabin. Oddly enough, you wouldn't guess this is the same river.
Yep.
But it's more natural springs in that part of it than what we get. And it feeds into Lady Bird Lake. So you're driving through downtown Austin, and there's a lake in the middle of Austin, which is unusual for Texas. And it's very big part of the city. People use it for kayaking. They use it for paddleboarding. They use it for swimming. It's 68 degrees in the river part of it and Barton Springs part of it year round. They have a pool that's built into the river, like a natural pool, spring fed.
It's amazing.
Built into the river, cold year round. It has a lifeguard. It has a right now they've always had a diving board, but right now it's become kind of TikTok famous because they have some boys from the college that have been going up there and rating people diving off the diving board. They do like a 10 or 9. It's really funny.
That's funny.
They were not there when I was there this weekend.
Oh, that's sad.
I didn't go to the paid part, which is the pool part.
Yeah.
I prefer the free part only because it's a little bit more of a true river aspect.
Yeah.
And I want to go into the lake, and you can get to the lake from there, and it's just more of a river, thing.
River vibes.
Right. When I was a kid in the 70s, the hippies, that's where they all went, and we were the hippies. And so really when we went there as a kid, there was no one there. Like, I knew everybody at the pool, and I knew everybody at the river. Like, it was all the hippies. There was no internet. People just didn't know it existed unless they were a local.
Yeah.
And so we could go to Barton Springs, and chances are everybody was a local.
Yeah.
And it was also topless.
Nice.
I don't know that they still do that. But in the 70s, it was topless.
Yeah.
Not
a
everybody.
lot of things were topless in the 70s.
True, in Austin especially. And honestly, I was a little kid and didn't even...
Yeah, it didn't register.
It didn't register. No. I was probably also... I rarely had clothes on at the time.
Yeah. You were probably full nude.
Probably, yes. And so in the free area, which is where I prefer to go, you can kayak, you can canoe, you can paddleboard, whatever. It's more of a river experience with a little more people. Mm-hmm. And it feeds into Lady Bird Lake, which is in there. Well, it's freezing cold, but it's 110 right now in Texas, and this weekend could not have been a better weekend. I sat in that damn lake and river all weekend long. I was there all day Saturday.
Thanks for inviting me.
I apologize. Well, you broke your foot.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed. It was originally the plan, and then I was like, "Bitch can't be keeping up with me. She's gonna be hobbling like 6 miles behind me. I got shit to do." And I was spending the weekend with my kids. Originally, I thought I was moving them, and then when I realized I didn't have to move them, it was just gonna be fun.
That's nice.
That's nice. Mm-hmm. We had a great time, and so I have to tell you what I did. So we go down there Saturday and we spend the day Saturday, and it's just me and my son and my son's girlfriend, and we have a great weekend. And we swim and we make a little camp area right there on the water, and we have the paddleboard and all that kind of stuff. And there's paddleboard rentals and kayaks and stuff right there too. And so we have a good day. And then the next day we go back and my daughter's able to join us. And I bring my cooler and I have snacks and I have drinks and I have, we have the paddleboard again and we're doing our thing. And I also have my brother. So brother, passed away a year and a half ago. And when he passed away, I got some of his ashes and I've had them in this bag, in this box, and I carry him with me everywhere. And I release him into important places in Texas. First off, I would never put his ashes anywhere outside of Texas because he'd be pissed. But it's important places only. Either important to me or important to us.
Yeah.
But important places only. Honestly, I debated before I let anything out in the ocean because I was worried. We had memories there, but it wasn't as important. Barton Springs was important to us. It was a huge part of my childhood. So we're there, and before Zold passed away and he was sick, I teased him and told him if he passed away, I was going to put his ashes in a dime bag and I was going to carry him around in a dime bag. And it was just a joke because we had found some random dime bags. And I was like, when you die, I'm putting you in this dime bag and carrying you around. It was just like an ongoing inside joke. Well, then he died. He's now in a dime bag.
You've carried out those.
I promised I would do it.
You have to do it when you promise.
So I have a piece of him in a bag in a box. So my sister-in-law gave a few of us a box with a necklace to put his ashes in. So a real pretty silver necklace. So if we wanted to have him around our neck and carry him with us. The issue is I have a really hard time putting my brother in a necklace. I don't know why. I haven't gotten there yet. But I have no problem dropping him off
different places.
In different places. And so I'll take him from that little bag and I'll pour him into the dime bag that I carry. Because, it's not like I have a bunch of random dime bags lying around. I went and got one to do this job with. So I'll pour him into the dime bag and I use that to move him around. So I carry him with me everywhere. He's been all over since, literally he's in my purse at all times. Everyone thinks it's really funny. He's fallen out many a time. So I have him and I'm like, we're going to the river I'd already planned to take him, but I was going to do it Sunday. So I moved him into the small dime bag and we get there and I tell my son and my daughter, I'm like, I'm going to take Zoll and I'm going to take him out to the water and I'm going to let him go and put a little bit of him in Barton Springs. And they just they think it's funny. They know me.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So I get on the paddleboard. First off, I can't stand on a paddleboard yet.
Not yet. Not to that level.
I'm not to that level.
Neither am I. I can stand on it for 0.2 seconds.
And you own one.
And then I fall off.
Okay. So I'm like, I'm just going to sit on it and I'm going to paddle myself out to Lady Bird and let him out in Lady Bird Lake. I didn't quite go all the way to Lady Bird, but I got away from all the people because I kind of felt like it was weird to let him out where all the people were.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'd appreciate that because he didn't like most people. But also it's a little, I don't want other people's parents' ashes or brothers' ashes on me. So I take him out towards a little more secluded. I have a drink with me and I'm on the paddleboard. I'm by myself and I go out there and they know, my kids know what I'm doing. I had to put them in the dime bag and tuck them into my bathing suit top. And we paddle ourselves out there and it's crystal clear water. You know how it is out there. You can see the rocks, you can see the turtles, you can see the fish, you can see everything. So I paddle my ass out there and I'm like, all right, Zoe, this is where you go. You get off. This is where I'm dropping you. I was like, cheers to you. I take a shot and I let my brother go into Barton Springs. And I look around at all the people around me. I'm like, they have no idea. They're now covered in soul dust. But it was so wonderful. Yeah. It's my favorite place I've left him. And I decided, I've always wanted to be buried. I've always wanted to be buried in my family cemetery. I'm going to change my mind. If someone's willing to do that for me, that's what I want. I want someone to drop me off in my favorite places. Just like scatter me across Texas. I'm willing to let you take me out of Texas. Just don't drop me off in California or Florida.
Just any cool place.
Or New York. But not because I have anything against those places, but I've been there and not that great. It was cool, but don't leave me there.
Yeah.
Texas, Washington State.
You can take me there. Just don't leave me there.
Really, just keep me in Texas. I'll take it back. Arkansas is cool. I spent many years in Arkansas with my dad, but that's about it. But take me some badass places like I've taken Zol. He's been to the ocean. He's been to many rivers. He's been to many lakes. He's been hunting. He's been fishing. He's been hiking.
Yeah.
I just kind of let him out. So I have my little dime bag come back. I saved the dime bag because, it's not like I have extra. So I come back and I put him back, and Zoe's a little teary-eyed over it. She was like, that's very loving and kind, and that's really cool. I'm really glad you did that for Zol. I'm like, I hope you do the same for your brother. Or your sister or whoever. I hope you do that for somebody if you have a chance to do that for somebody. And she was like, okay, I'll do it. And I was like, no, not because I'm telling you to do it. There's only
gotta want to do it.
You're only going to have so many people that's special to you, But then I was like, but I got to re-up. I'm going to have to re-up on this dime bag.
Getting a little low.
And Zoe's like, Mom, it sounds like you're talking about Coke at this point. I was like, it looks a little bit like Coke. So if I get pulled over, and I've thought about this before.
They're not going to believe
They're not going to believe me. I got white substance in my dime bags. But this is my brother. But they'll test it. If I have to spend a day or two in jail until they test it, I'll do it. And then I'll sue them. But whatever. So yes, I do travel with my brother in a dime bag. And that is, so I'd let him out, and that was really cool. The other cool thing about the weekend, not that I didn't just enjoy my weekend, but the funny thing about it was we go to the river. There's this couple with 3 dogs, and they are all like brothers. They look just alike. I have no idea what kind of dog they are. I wish I knew. I want one. I don't even like dogs, and I want one. I do like other people's dogs. I just want to keep them.
That's the way I like kids.
Exactly. So these 3 dogs, one of them is real damn smart. And there's these 3 little boys that are about 10 years old, and they're building like a dam out of rocks. And I don't mean little rocks. I mean rocks that are like the size of like a small purse, a clutch. This is not like a small rock. It should not fit in a dog's mouth, rocks, okay? And this dog is swimming down into the river, grabbing rocks, big rocks, and then swimming back up. Like his little butts. You know how when you swim down to the bottom of something, your butt kind of sticks up?
Yeah.
This is what this dog's doing. He's going down between 2 and 4 feet and grabbing these rocks. He's swimming over these 3 little 10-year-old-ish boys, and he's bringing the rocks. And they're building like a little miniature dam in this one section, and he's adding rocks to the dam.
He's like, here you go.
He's doing the same thing they're doing. Like this is the game they're playing. And I'm like, this is awesome. That's a great dog. And how awesome for these kids. They have this memory and they've trained this dog. This is awesome. Mm-hmm. And then the mom, I think is the mom, the lady, the owner, the mom of the dog is like, come on, dogs, whatever the names are. Let's go. And that dog had just dropped a rock off at the dam. And so he just immediately, I see him look at her, because I can't stop watching him for an hour. All it is watch these 3 dogs. And I'm not even a big dog person. He looks at her like, okay, let's go. But first, he swims down, grabs another rock, the biggest one yet. It is massive. It has to be 4 or 5 pounds. Grabs it with his mouth, swims back up, and starts to leave. And the boys are still there, and they're still building the dam. And that's when it hit me. Those dogs are not here with those kids.
He was just playing with them.
He just likes rocks. And so they start to leave. And she was like, whatever his name is. Let's say his name is John. John, leave the rock. Drop the rock. And this dog shook his head at her. He's not leaving the rock.
This is mine.
And so I am cracking up. And I have no one with me. Like I have no one to discuss this with. I'm standing there by myself at the moment. I had just walked down there to see something. So I am alone. And I'm like, and I am at this point, I can't stop watching. I stayed there forever. And so he's like, no, I'm not leaving without my rock. And he shook his head at her. She's like, let's go. And he gets out of the water and keeps carrying his rock. She's like, drop the rock. Nope.
Sorry.
She goes, you have enough rocks at home. And that's when I realized this is my spirit dog.
I don't have this one.
Have you met me?
Yeah.
Do you mean rocks I have randomly? Today at work, I took 4 rocks out of my purse to show people. So I'm like, this is so funny. I'm still trying to connect the dots. Like, these are not with the kids. And so the dog, she's like, drop the rock. And the dog's like, no, I'm not dropping the rock. And the dog would not drop the rock. He left with her with the rock.
He's hard-headed.
Right. So then the little boys kind of come up close to me because they're like grabbing rocks from all over. And I said, y'all don't know that dog? They were like, no, it's the first time we ever met the dog. I said, he was grabbing rocks and building a dam with you. And they were like, yeah, crazy, right? That dog was not their friend. I mean, he was. He made friends, but
he is now.
Is that not the cutest thing you've ever heard?
That is pretty
I was
good.
like, oh my God. I don't know what kind of dog it was. I don't know. But it was the smartest dog I've ever seen, or, the most charismatic. I don't know.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. I was like, this is hilarious. The other thing was that I noticed at the river. Okay, so I'm there with my kids. My daughter is she really wants to paddleboard. She's never done it before. So she's getting up and trying. Bless her heart. Mm-hmm. Girl can't ride a bike either. She has zero skill set with balance.
Yeah, not the best thing to try to do if you don't have any kind of balance.
It didn't work out real great for her, but she did keep trying, and she was cracking me up because every time she'd get up there, she was like, this is what I call, and she'd make up a pose name. It'd be like dog that likes rocks. It'd be the stupidest pose. So she's trying really hard to do it, and she's out there, and she's been working on it for like 3 hours. She'd be like, I hate this, and then like give us the paddleboard, and then like 5 minutes later, give it back. And she'd try it again. She'd get up there and do it again. And Zane wasn't there yet. This is Saturday, and Zane's not there yet. Saturday. Zane wasn't there Saturday. Or Zoe wasn't there Saturday. She came Sunday. Zane and I spent the whole weekend together, but Zoe was only there Sunday. And so Zane is a very good paddleboarder. He was a very good skateboarder, bike rider. The kid had some amazing talent with this kind of stuff. And so Zane gets there, he jumps on the paddleboard and just takes off. I'm like, you a little jealous? Your younger brother can just jump on the paddleboard and take off. And this is like one of those blow up ones, kind of like yours.
Yeah.
Well, just like yours. And so these other people come in and make a little camp by us at Barton Creek. And the guy's like my age, and his wife and their kid and like maybe grandma. And he's amazed by the paddleboard, and he's got questions. And finally I'm like, do you want to use the paddleboard? Because we rented it for the day, whatever. Do you want to use it? Do you want to use this paddleboard? Yes, please. And so he gets out there and comes back. This is the coolest thing ever, but also very hard.
Yeah, they're very hard.
Yeah, but they're very cool. And so Zoe's out there, and she's trying to get up on the paddleboard, and she's struggling, and it's really funny. We're laughing our ass off the whole time. And then this little kid comes by, and he's maybe 8, 9. He has a shorter paddleboard. I've never seen one this short. And he's got a tiny cooler. It looks like an adult cooler if you shrunk it. And a number of paddleboarders will have a cooler.
Yeah.
And he's got like a snorkel, and he's got like the little feet fins. I don't know what you call those. Flippers. And he's got other stuff, but I noticed those things. And a drink. He's got a drink balance on the paddleboard.
Got a whole setup.
Whole setup. Paddleboarding by like he is not struggling at all.
Nope.
So I took a picture of him killing it, and Zoe is in the background.
Killing it in her way.
Her own version of killing it. It is the funniest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid is killing. She paddles back, and she was like, fuck him.
He did that on purpose.
Yes. But then there's people like, okay, they have some rope swings. If you imagine a Texas river, what people do, they're doing it here.
Yeah.
So they have these big, tall rope swings, right? These kids are climbing to the top of that rope where it's tied. I'm talking 25, 30, 40 feet, like massive. Going to the top and jumping in. I don't have that kind of death wish.
That's crazy.
There's no, A, I couldn't get up there. B, I would die if I fell down. Even if I hit nothing, even if I just hit the water exactly as planned, I think I'm going to die. Yeah. Yep. I keep messing up my ears. I don't know what's going on. Do I have them in the wrong ears?
I don't know.
I'm not used to
you
earbuds.
Have deformed ears.
I think I'm just not used to earbuds. Anyway, so that was my weekend. I mean, there's a lot more to my weekend.
Sounds like you had a fun weekend.
I had a great weekend. The one thing that I walked away from is that my kids are young adults. And they're responsible for themselves. And it's time for them to grow up and make adult decisions and be responsible for themselves.
It's very true.
And it's really hard as a mom not to intercept and save and do the things you need to do. So my son moved into this new apartment. It's in his girlfriend's apartment. The first one they have is they're just themselves. They live with his sister, my daughter, before. And so he's very proud of it, and he wants me to come see it, and he's very excited. So I come to see it. Him and his girlfriend both work in these like resale shops that sell like upscale resale stuff. I'm talking like $900 concert tees and stuff.
Yeah.
It's Austin. And so, and they like all this retro stuff. They're very cool. I probably would have been the same way at their age with this stuff. And so they've decorated their apartment, and she showed me like the pictures of like their vision board, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah.
It's 70s, right?
Nice.
So I walk in, and it's like I walked into houses I lived in Austin. And I lived in Austin in the 70s.
Yeah.
I lived this where they're living.
Yeah.
So their house looks like a time capsule, which was cool. And we just had a really good time. We had a really, really good time. I'm really glad that I went.
That's awesome.
And meanwhile, you were stuck at home with a broken foot.
Yeah, I did not have the greatest weekend.
Yeah, tell me about your weekend.
Oh.
Tell me about your foot.
Okay, so here we go. So I was at work on a Tuesday.
Last week.
last Tuesday. And the group that I have right now for after school, we took one of our really big groups and split it in half. And so one of our staff members has the boys of this group, and I have the girls. So I have about like, depending on the day, like 8 to 10 girls.
How old are they now?
They are, I want to say they're like 4th grade, 5th grade, that age group.
Okay.
So we go out, they wanted to go outside, and this was one of the days it was actually at the point it wasn't too hot. So I was like, okay, we can go out for a while. It's because there wasn't anybody else outside.
That was the day that it was under 100.
I think so.
We had 2 of those days last week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. So we went outside. I was like, okay, let's take this opportunity to go outside. They all wanted to go outside. So I was like, what do y'all want to play? They wanted to play kickball. So we're like, okay. So we go out there, and right as we're going out there, one of them leaves. So their groups are now uneven. Their kickball group.
So we blame her. I'm kidding.
So another one of the girls was like, Miss Kelly, will you please play because our groups are uneven? And I was like, sure, no problem. So I get on a base. We're playing for a while. Well, a kick goes out of bounds, so I'm running to go and retrieve the ball. And since Texas is so dry, we have these sun cracks everywhere. And you don't think about how dangerous these things are. They're very dangerous, especially when they are like the width of your hand or bigger. And
it's been 110 for what, a month?
Yeah. So I stepped in, as I'm running, I step into a sun crack. The end of my foot, so my toes bend backwards as I'm stepping into it. And I hear what just sounds like, when you get the insulation, like the popping stuff, what are they called?
Yeah, the popping bubbles.
Yeah, what is that called? I can never, I don't know what they're called.
I don't know either.
Bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap. That's what it sounds like as I step into this hole, and feels like. It goes, crack, and I'm like, ow. I didn't fall down, though. I played it off
Took it like a champ.
I did. But I knew right then, I was like, that wasn't good.
No.
I've never broken a bone before in my life. I take that back. My mom told me that I broke bones when I was like really young. I don't remember that though.
Yeah.
I broke like my arm and my leg when I was little, really, really little. But ever since then, I've never broken a bone. But I knew that was bad. That was like that. Nope. Mm-mm. So I'm like, guys, I'm out. Can't play anymore. They're like, what, Miss Kelly? I was like, I just hurt my foot. And they're like, how? And I just pointed out the crack that I stepped into. They're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I could automatically feel my foot swelling in my shoe. And I knew I had to get over to the picnic tables and sit down and get my shoe off, because it was going to get to the point where it was going to be hard to take it off, because I could literally feel it and
bigger.
expanding inside the shoe. So I hobble over to the picnic tables and I take off my shoe, and I can tell it's just already got a huge foot. So I'm like, okay, this isn't good. So I was like, guys, we got to go inside. I can't sit out here. And I was like, I'm hurt. We got to go inside. And like, I'm in a lot of pain. Like, and I have very high pain tolerance, a very high pain tolerance.
Yeah. Well, I know you waited like a few days to go to the doctor.
And I am like telling myself, don't cry in front of the kids. Don't cry in front of the kids. Don't cry in front of the kids. Because they're already like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine, but we need to get inside. So I get inside, and they get me some ice packs to put on it. And my boss was like, do you think it's broke? I was like, I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know. I just don't. But I didn't go to the doctor then. I was like, I just want to go home. So they got me some crutches because we have crutches and a wheelchair and all kinds of stuff already there. So I take the crutches and go home. I called my mom on the way home, and obviously I told Dante on the way home what happened. So my mom is my mom. So she comes from Greenville.
Oh.
To come and see me. Because she knows me. She knows I'm not going to go to the doctor.
And you have a high
She
tolerance for
knows
pain.
I'm not going to do anything about it. So she comes and she checks it out. She's like, babe, that's broken. That's broke. It's not going to just get better. It's not like a toe.
My immediately reaction, seriously was, God, I hope she can sew her heel. Because I broke my foot, didn't go to the doctor, and I've never been able to wear heels again.
Well, I do not want that to happen. And it's not just a toe, okay? This is not just like I broke my pinky toe or one of my toes. Foot. I broke the metatarsal bone. So that is the bone that connects from your toes to your ankle.
Right.
And I broke the fifth one, so it's the one on the outside. And it is fractured bad. Yeah. So I go to work the next day and it was actually a day that I was supposed to be off, but they had some people coming in to view our club. So they're like, can you be here for this day? It's like, sure. So I get there. They have a wheelchair for me though. So I'm like, awesome. Because crutches and me are not friends.
Right.
It's not the funnest thing. So then while I'm there, and my boss had told me, I already have a claim number for you. You're going to the doctor to get an x-ray. And so I was like, fine. I hate going to the doctor. I hate it. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I do not like being touched. I do not like I do not like going to hospitals. I do not like it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but fine. So I go get an x-ray, and the doctor comes in after, and she's like, we don't have the final thing from the x-ray tech, but I walked in and looked at it and it's broken. It's obviously broken. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. So they put me in a splint. Then I had to wait. So that was Wednesday. Then I had to wait because they referred me to an orthopedic doctor because they don't do surgery or do any kind of setting at the emergency clinic because I just went to an emergency clinic. So I get an appointment for Friday, and on Friday I went to the orthopedic doctor. They retook x-rays, and the doctor that was there does not specialize in feet, like the bone that I broke. Yeah. So he's sending me to a specialist for that and a surgeon, because he was like, the way you broke that bone, it's not just a small like hairline fracture thing. It's completely separate. It's completely separated and splinted off, and it's not in the place that it's supposed to be. So it's not it's not a thing that you can just put a cast on and it heal it or reset it. Like, so he's really thinking that they're going to have to go in and put a pin in to fix the fracture and to keep it in place. So that is what is happening Wednesday. So I don't know when this is going to come out. I'm going to try to get this out as soon as we can. But today's Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday. So I'm going tomorrow to meet with the surgeon to talk to him about what my options are.
Hey, here's what I need. I need you to schedule the surgery for September 8th. Because I'm having surgery September 8th.
So you want to have surgery the same day?
And I'm going to have a week or two off, and we can just hang out.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have...
Doesn't that make sense?
...say over when this happens.
I get the fact that you might not. But if you do, I'm just saying.
I do hope that, I know that anything in the medical field, especially these days, take forever.
Yes.
So I don't know
But things like that don't, because it's a time, you're on a time limit before it starts trying to heal on its own.
That's true.
And then they have to re-break it.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
Well, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
So I'll figure out tomorrow what actually I'm going to have to do. I'm really hoping I don't have to have surgery, but I'm thinking with my luck, I'm going to have to have surgery.
Which is why we skipped last weekend, which is why we did the little PSA.
Yes, very sorry, but there was no me making it to...
No, I was like, don't even push it. Just do you do you do you. It's all good.
I have a boot on now, so that does help with keeping it, from moving, and it keeps it from hurting. But still not fun.
All right, we'll find out next week.
But I will have to tell you, I don't think about these things because I grew up. My mom worked at a place where they had people with special needs and people with disabilities, and I grew up my whole life
With kids that had some kind of special
understanding,
needs.
not even just kids, adults too. She worked with adults, and so I always understood what that looked like and the respect that you give those people and the kind of things that you do around those people. But it just doesn't happen these days. Like anybody that has anything wrong with them, you get stares, you get looks, you get points, and it doesn't matter. Like I'm just in a boat. I'm just on crutches or in a
calm
wheelchair.
down.
And it's not that big of a deal, but you still do. And so I was going to the store the other day, and you have to think forward of, okay, am I going to be able to, are things going to be accessible to me? Because not everything is. Going places, not everything is accessible to people who are in wheelchairs or on crutches. And I cannot put any weight on the foot. I'm not supposed to use it at all. I have to be on crutches or in a wheelchair at all times until I go and see the specialist.
Right.
So when we went to the store the other day because I wanted a new pair of shoes, and Dante's kids were getting some shoes. And so we were going to Academy, and I was like, is Academy going to have wheelchairs? I don't know. I've never looked or thought to look, but they did. Dante dropped me off first at the door because he's a gentleman. And so I go in, I see that there's a wheelchair. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm getting in a wheelchair. Him and his kids are walking in, and his kids exchange a look to each other because they see that I'm getting in a wheelchair. Like, oh my gosh, seriously. And I'm like, that is so rude. Like, you don't do that when a person, they don't have any other option, okay, other than to walk around the store the entire time on
did you
crutches.
say something?
I didn't, but it just made me think, because like they're not the only people that do it. And while we were in the store, there was a little kid that was with his father, and he is like maybe 4, very little. And obviously he's looking at me because I'm in a wheelchair. And that kind of age, I understand. They probably haven't seen much of this. They just probably think it's cool. They're like, oh, I want to ride, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so his father is explaining to her, she's in a wheelchair. No, you know, sometimes people need wheelchairs if they get hurt or if they can't walk. So it helps you get around. Very good. Explain. But we also need to explain to our kids the way that you react, the faces that you make. Okay. All of those things.
Like people that are burn victims or, you know, missing a limb.
Yeah.
And it's funny because on my my like Facebook like timeline thing, it popped up that I had gone somewhere just today, that I had gone somewhere and a person was missing their limbs. Mm-hmm. No, I take it back. That's not the whole story. There's a man that's missing. I had to think about it. There's a man that's missing his limbs, and he's a very famous author and public speaker now. And he was born without his limbs, all 4 of them. So he has no legs beyond like midway down his thigh. Mm-hmm. Like he's not, no kneecaps, none of that. No arms. And he's a public speaker, and he's written a book, you know, that kind of, he's married. He has like 2 kids, whatever. So about 8 or 9 years ago, there was a post about him going around in his book. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's a big deal. He makes like millions. This man is very successful. And this guy that I grew up with made a post about it, making fun of him. He's making fun of a guy that's a millionaire that was born with a severe disability. And he has managed to marry, maintain the marriage, and had children, and has a career and is very successful. And this guy is posting making fun of him.
Oh my gosh.
And I have kids with some special needs. And I normally don't bite. But you know what? If I don't bite and he posts this and I'm complacent, I might as well be adding in a thumbs up.
Yeah, you're allowing it.
I'm allowing it. And I am not going to do that. And so I commented, and I was like, so let me get this straight. You're making fun of and judging a man that's a multimillionaire, very successful in his field, public speaker, book writer, successful
Not
marriage.
to mention, obviously, very brave.
Very brave, yeah. And you're making fun of him, but you're living in a place that you have to ask people to help you pay your rent on a regular basis, with your wife that you posted last week how she was in a hotel with another man, and all these other problems that you have. At one point, I hadn't seen this guy in 15 years, and he didn't have money. He was real sick, and he didn't have money to see the doctor, and he didn't have any gas, and he didn't have this. And I could care less about this guy, but I knew he had a child, and I said, come over, I'll give you $50. Put it towards medicine and doctor. I was a single parent with 4 kids when I gave him $50. I did not have $50 to give. I gave it to him because I knew he had a kid and he needed to go to work and get better so he could provide for his kid.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him at this point since we were in probably 9th grade because that's when he quit school. And he took the money. So he needed it. He took the money, and that's absolutely fine. But now you're making fun of somebody that's way more successful than you in all aspects, personal, financial, career, everything. And you're making fun of him because he was born without arms and legs. Like, you're making fun of that's what you picked to make fun of.
Yeah.
Because you were born with arms and legs, and your ass can't walk your ass to work. Because you're living in you're asking on GoFundMe to pay your rent, dude. Because you just can't afford it, not because something bad happened to you.
Yeah.
That's what I think about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's funny you say that.
So
that literally popped up on my Facebook today because I went the F off. I deleted them, and then I put, if you're this type of person, if this is the person you are, delete yourself next.
Right.
Because I'm just going to be real clear. You're a loser and I want nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Period.
So
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
It's just fair. It reminded me, and not that I didn't already know, but it really opened my eyes to the way that people are looked at and the way that people are treated.
And how it makes them feel.
When they have any kind of disability.
Yeah.
Whether it is physical or mental or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm just hurt. I just broke my foot and I'm in a boot. That's not even a really bad situation.
No,
It's not good.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. But being on crutches or in a wheelchair, it just, you get treated differently. Now, some people are awesome.
Yeah.
And I love the people that are awesome, that help you out, that open doors for you, that make sure, it's really hard for me to ask for help. I'm not a ask for helper.
But if they offer it, you're not going to be like.
But it's awesome to have the people that just offer, or without you even having to say anything or do anything. Hey, can I get you anything? Hey, do you need anything? Open up doors, let you go first. Some people are just like, want to run right in front of you because they're like, I don't want to wait on you.
I don't want to wait on her, yeah.
And I get that, but I'm like, I can't help.
I mean, if you're at ATV, I might run you over. There's only one door.
I'm
We're
run
remodeling.
you over because I'm going to get in one of those electric carts. And
True that. True that. They got our local ATV grocery store down to one door because they're remodeling, and it is a little bit of a rat race.
It's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the segment where we're going to actually have my daughter, number 3 of 4, Zaylee, in here for her 18th birthday. She wanted to be on the podcast.
That is such a great birthday present to ask for.
It's very inexpensive as a mom. She was really excited about it. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely. She's very interesting. Absolutely. But more than being interesting, she's a lesson for people because Zaylee is autistic. And I wouldn't put that out there, except she's comfortable with it.
Yes.
But also the fact that she wants to help other kids and other parents and other grandparents and aunts and uncles and anyone that has someone with autism in their life that are unfamiliar with autism to learn via her.
Right.
So Zaylee is number 3 of my 4 kids, and she just turned 18, and which is, by the way, y'all are going to hear people in the background.
Yeah.
We are still on the restaurant side, and there will be restaurant sounds. So just want to put that out there. But so Zaylee and she wanted to be on it. I was like, what do you want to talk about? She had no idea. But she just wanted to be on it. But one of our big things that we've done for years is talk about autism awareness and what it looks like to be autistic and what it feels like to be autistic. And as a mother is what I understand. Like, I can't speak for Zaylee. I can't say how she feels. I interpret how she feels. I try to figure it out. I try to address it, but I am not her. I don't have that situation in my life. So I can only know what I know via her. Mm-hmm. And so I have always used my social media as a voice for her and as a voice for autism because I feared people didn't understand it. Yeah. And I know they didn't. At first I feared it. Now I know it.
Yeah.
Because something you hear a lot with, people that are not autistic don't understand how much it's said, or doesn't have an autistic child, don't understand how much this persona is out there. But you hear a lot of, just beat that kid, just spank that kid, just ground that kid, just take their phone.
Yeah, that kid's just throwing a tantrum.
They're just, in my day.
Back in my
That's my favorite.
Oh, I know.
In my day.
Yeah.
Well, in your day, they institutionalized them. In my day, as a Gen Xer, we institutionalized them. The Kennedys, they institutionalized their autistic daughter and gave her a lobotomy and ruined her life. Was perfectly capable of a real regular life. She was high functioning, just like my 2 kids with autism are, and she had a lot of potential, and they squashed it with medical. And that's probably the best knowledge they had at the time. They had a lot of money. That's probably the best knowledge they had at the time. But now we know better.
Yeah.
Now we understand it a little bit better. And so since I've had her, I have tried really hard to speak for her when I can. Obviously can't speak for her completely. She's her own person. But as a mother that has experienced it.
Yeah.
So I have 2 kids that are adults now that are not on the spectrum. Same father. I only have one baby daddy. All 4 of my children come from my only husband I've ever had, my ex-husband. And the older 2 kids did not have to deal with autism. The younger 2 kids have very high functioning autism. It has changed my entire life. It has changed absolutely everything about my life. It has changed me as a parent. I thought I was the best mom. I did. Everyone thought I was the best mom. When I had my first 2 kids, I had a cousin who didn't have kids by choice but had a stepkid and has multiple nieces and nephews say to me, I don't like kids. I don't like most parents with kids. But your kids are awesome. They're so easy. They do anything you tell them you want to do. You're definitely a wonderful parent. And I'm over here like a dumbass, and I'm like, yes, I am. I'm awesome. You're right. They're so easy. No, I had really easy kids. I wasn't the best parent. Mm-hmm. I had easy kids. Yeah, and I'm not saying good kids. Yeah, they were good. But I'm saying easy kids, because there's a huge difference between good kids and easy kids. My older kids were super easy. The younger 2 were much more challenging, particularly Zaylee, because we didn't understand it. We didn't know what we were doing. I was an amateur at this kind of parenting. Mm-hmm. So even though I felt like I really conquered it with the first 2 kids and it gave me a false sense of I'm amazing, turns out I just had easy kids. And you might be blessed with kids that are easy and think you're awesome, and you might be not. And you might be blessed with kids that are different. And it's still a blessing.
Yes.
It is a different blessing.
Different kind of blessing. God was building your character.
Yeah, and I appreciate him for it, because he has brought me to my knees with this one. And I mean that with love, because I had to learn to be a better person and a better parent by being her parent. Do I cuss more? Yes. Do I lose my shit more? Absolutely. I can remember my younger kids, I wouldn't use the word hate. Like the word hate. Like you can't say, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. That was too negative for my kids to hear. Virgin ears. I didn't want any words like that in front of them. Now I'm like, fuck that. I hate that shit. These 2 kids have taught me to be more real and be more honest with life. And I appreciate it. It's harder. It's more of a struggle, but it's real life. Mm-hmm. So I have my first 2 kids, and they're easy peasy, and everything's wonderful and simple. And then I have Zaylee, and she's about 6 months old. And that's about the time I found out I was pregnant with Zol. He was a little bit of a surprise. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. And so she was a surprise. So then there was another surprise. And so I don't know what the hell causes that. And so I'm pregnant with Zaylee. With Zol. And Zaylee is like 6 months old, and she's losing her shit about everything. She doesn't like anything. She doesn't want me to hold her. She liked me holding her over anyone else, but she didn't necessarily like it, if that makes sense. Like you can, kinda, for a second. Like it's almost like she was throwing me a bone. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna let you hold me, but then I need you to put me down in my swing because I don't really like you that much. You might be my favorite person, but I don't really technically like people, type thing. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, this kid hates me.
But I loved my jumper.
She did. She had a jumperoo, which back in the day was like kind of like those Johnny jumpers that used to go in the window, in the door frames.
Yeah.
But she had like the stationary one, which is a jumperoo. And that girl was all about that jumperoo.
It had my name on it.
I put her name on it. She loved it. She'd go crazy. She hated a swing. My other kids loved a swing. She absolutely hated it. So that was my first sign, was like, this is different. This is different than the other two kids. But then she didn't want to be held. That was also weird. She just wasn't liking all the attention I gave the other kids. Now, did she want attention 24/7? Absolutely. But she wanted it her way, and she wanted me to ignore anybody else. Mm-hmm. So the other siblings were like, we are your kids too. And she's like, bitch, I'm here now. She took over. So when I had my oldest daughter, and then I had my son, and then here she comes. And he was so excited, my son, to get a sibling, a younger sibling. And he was no longer going to be the baby. And he was so excited about it. When she was about 6 months old, and he's about 6, he turns to me and he says, I thought when I got a younger sibling, it'd be someone I could boss around. And she's bossing you around. She controls this whole house. And I was like, touche, she does. It was hard. And I had to relearn how to parent. Mm-hmm. So everything I thought I was great at, and everything that everybody in normal life thinks they're great at. And my kid's awesome. I did a great job. And you probably did do a great job, but you also got an easy damn kid. Like, this is different. And it taught me humility. It taught me about parenting more than I ever learned. And it's funny because we have a lot of issues and we'll run into things, and it's a constant battle. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely a better parent than I was before, but I look like a better parent on paper with the other kids. Yeah. And so it just changed everything about my life. It changed everything. I started evaluating myself as a human, as a parent, evaluating her. And to top it all off, I finally had a kid that looked like me.
Exactly like.
She's my twin.
Copy and paste.
And the kid hates everybody and is pissed.
Yeah.
And so, autism wasn't really a thing. She's 18, so autism about 18 years ago was just starting to be talked about a lot, and it was being talked about in regards to boys. Yeah. It's like girls didn't exist and they didn't have it. So after a few months of different behaviors that I thought were different and alarming, I go to a pediatrician who was wonderful, and I was like, I think my kid has autism. And she didn't show traditional autistic signs, but she had a hard time with some things that's the only thing that made sense. Mm-hmm. And through my whole pregnancy, I dreamed she had autism, the entire pregnancy. And I thought, when I found out she was a girl, I was like, yes, this kid's not having autism. I was wrong.
Yep.
And she came out that, with autism. And so I really it's really changed me as a human. And it's made me a better human. Even if I'm really rougher around the edges, because I used to try to please absolutely everybody, she taught me I have to please nobody. She is the reason I am the person I am today. She's the reason I cuss so much. Am I wrong?
No.
But she's really changed me. And so she wanted to be on the show, and I was like, what do you want to talk about? And she didn't really have an idea. And I just feel like it's most important to talk about what it feels like to be autistic, particularly a young adult that's autistic. Because she's going to go out in this world and get a job, and she's the person that Karen's going to take advantage of. Mm-hmm. She's the person that's going to make someone uncomfortable on occasion because they don't know how to deal with someone being non-neurotypical, and they're going to take advantage of that. So I have had to spend her entire life preparing her for the real world and the people that think they're perfect because their kids were easy.
Yeah.
Because I was that bitch. And now I know better.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. And so, we've grown together. I did get her diagnosed because the doctor originally was like, nope, it's a girl. Not happening. I fought for this. I dealt with many doctors. And she did eventually get diagnosed. Once they got more, now they diagnose girls a lot more. Back then it was like, until she was in 5th or 6th grade, she had never had a girl in her autism class.
Yeah, it was always boys, but I got diagnosed when I was 6. So it was always boys, but then in 6th grade, all these girls were coming in. And I was like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, she was so excited. And so, but there's different degrees of it. And some of the girls are traditional autism, like what you expect, what you read, and what you study, or what you see on like movies, like Rain Man, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what most people's perspective is. They all put it on Rain Man. This kid is nothing like Rain Man. I mean, she will remember everything you ever said or did. But she's not going to like say it in a robotic way or, those kind of things. So I just thought it was important that we bring her in here and we talk about as being a young adult. She just graduated. She just turned 18. We've got to start college. We've got to start planning a future. We've got to figure out what the next step is. And we've got to be able to do that successfully and in a different way. She's not ready yet to go to college and go to dorm room and be away from me and that structure.
I feel like I need to wait like at least until I'm 20 to move out, though, because I don't think I'm mentally or physically ready to move out. But I think it's because my mental health is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I told my mom,
Zada, me.
Yeah, I told her, Mom, I need a therapist. I have been taking my anger out on everybody, and I don't like that.
And she's had therapists.
Yeah.
But she needs somebody that understands her as a young adult.
Mm-hmm. But last time I had a therapist was in middle school, and I'm like, okay, because we stopped because the insurance. And
now there's two kinds of therapy. Here's something you don't know till you have somebody in the situation. You have a doctor that prescribes you medicine.
Psychiatrist.
And then you have a different doctor that you get to talk to.
Right.
And yes, you get to talk to your doctor that gives you medicine. But it's not the same thing as the doctor that you talk to about your feelings.
Yeah, so
unfortunately, insurance doesn't cover a lot of that. So you have parents that are single parents or, maybe dad was never in the picture. Maybe mom was never in the picture. It can go either way.
Right.
And now at one point, I was spending more money on therapy and on her psychiatrist that gave her medicine and on her medicine than I was spending on all my other bills combined, including daycare at the time.
Right.
I was spending more money on her getting help than my rent, my car payment, my car insurance, my cell phone, all daycare, all combined. It was stupid. Insurance does not cover nearly enough. And so, that's a struggle. And kudos to you women that do it because it was a beating and I'd have 3 jobs to get through it. And I have a very good job. So when you guys have 3 jobs and one of them's a really good one, all I could think is, what do women do that don't have a good job?
Yeah.
For real.
And don't have the personality.
They don't get the help that they need.
They don't. Those kids suffer. Those kids do things that people are like, why didn't they? And here's the deal. The moment the kid shoots up a school or robs a store or has a meltdown on a plane and someone gets it on camera or has a fit in a store and they get it on camera, everyone's like, those parents are horrible. That kid's a brat. I'd beat them. They just need a spanking.
But what they don't understand is yes, we seem like we are just normal kids, but we're not.
No.
Because you have to get to know the person before you're like, okay. But I hate it whenever I was my freshman year of high school, my mom was just friends with someone in high school named Lainey, and her daughter Marley is in my...
We're not going to name names. This will be the last name we name. Go ahead.
But Marley, she came up to me and she was acting like I was a child. She was saying, oh my God, Zaylee, how are you? And I'm like, please don't talk to me like that. At all. And she was like, oh, okay.
And she's trying to be nice, and she is being caring and loving. She's a sweet girl.
She's a really sweet girl.
But her mom had told her Zaylee has autism, be extra kind to her. And Zaylee's like, I'm a normal kid still.
Yeah.
Treat me like I told everybody I was friends with in school, please treat me like a normal human being. Just because I have autism doesn't mean I'm low functioning. I understand things. Yes, it takes me time to process them.
Yeah.
But... yeah. And
so what do you think that you struggle with processing that people need to understand? Where is it that you struggle the most that you can
change for sure? For example, when Rick or your boyfriend moved in, it was definitely hard for me because I was raised by just one person in a household, and that was mom. And it was different, but now that he's lived there, and I'm
a year, yeah.
A year, and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Yes, he can get on my nerves.
Mine too, girl. I get you.
What? Rick getting on someone's nerves? So crazy.
But my dad
he gets on his own nerves.
Yeah. My dad's like, but is he nice to you? Did he treat you right? Does he treat your mama right? And I'm like, yes. yes and yes. I mean, yes, he's been there like half my whole life. Not the beginning years, but like near like the end of the beginning years.
He's been there 11
Yeah,
years.
big chunk.
11 years. And I'm like, okay, but Rick didn't understand the autism.
You taught him about it.
I taught him, and he thinks he might have it a little bit. I'm like,
He says all the time, he's like, I think I got autism.
I'm really starting to understand.
He's like, I have a hard time with change. I want my way. I'll throw a fit.
and not just that, he's not really good at planning things. Like, he doesn't tell us exactly what we're doing that day, and it annoys me. And I tell mom, and she's like, I know, it annoys me too. But
Yeah, because you have to have a list. You have to have it planned out to the the hour.
But that's me. I don't like doing that because I know it annoys people, and it also annoys me. That I'm like, I can't change that because if I do, it's just not who I am. So I'm like, okay.
But those are the kind of things that a therapist could help you with.
Exactly. And I started writing in a journal. I bought a journal when I was out of town. And I told mom, I need to buy a journal. Or I told my stepmom, I need to buy a journal. So I bought journal and pens. And I just started writing down my feelings whenever I got so angry. And I told my stepmom, like, I read to her how I was feeling because I don't know how to explain it without anger. And she was like, I bet you wrote something bad about me. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So I read it about it, and she was like, oh. And some of it was about Zoe starting school, and I was feeling so lonely in the house. And mom was like, well, we can get you in volunteer work or something.
Because we want her to start school, but we've decided to take the semester off to give her a chance. We got to get this new therapist. We're trying to, like, start her off on the right foot.
Yeah, and I told mom, I want to work with kids. I love kids, but like I don't want to work in elementary or middle school. Either middle school or high school. I just want to work with elementary because I feel like they'll make me pull my hair out. But I do want to work with the special education kids or anywhere with kids. I will be happy to work with kids. Yes, it's a harder job. Yes, you don't make a lot of money. Yes, but I'm not saying it's not about the fact Holly,
Her stepmom.
Yeah, my stepmom always taught me it doesn't matter about money, even though it kind of does.
It kind of does.
But it doesn't matter about money. It's like if you have the heart to do it.
It's very true.
And so, like, this past year, before I graduated, I worked.
I'll just like put this out. Her stepmom is a definite blessing.
Yes, she is. So I was like, I worked with the life skills kids, and I loved it. I loved the teachers.
Her senior year,
and
she was a teacher assistant for the life skill kids.
I loved it. Every day I got in the car from an A day, it was on A days. And I was like, Mom, I absolutely love these kids. Like, oh my God, they understand me more than people in my actual SLE class. And we had a great SLE teacher, but he didn't come back this year. I was kind of mad. So was Mom. And
what were the ages that you were working at with life school?
Life skills, all 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Oh, so you're helping peers.
Yes.
But it is, when she volunteered for it, like she's in SLE, but she was in SLE, but it was like the high functioning. Like
exactly.
Like she just had to check in.
Yeah.
She didn't have to go to a class. She just had to check in. If she was having a rough day, she had a mentor. Whereas these kids some are not even verbal.
Some of them are
verbal.
wheelchairs. But I remember the first time they switched my schedule. So I changed one of my classes because I signed up for community service. I did not sign up for that class. So I was like, please change it to community service. So on the second day of school, I went to the community service class. And I was like, okay. She was like, okay, well, we need to pick a place. No one picked life skills. So I was like, she was like, Zaylee, what do you want to choose? And at first I wanted to do the dance thing, but they don't have.
She was in drill team all through high school.
But at the same time, I wanted to work with the maidens, but that's on B days.
That's drill team.
I have them on A day. So I was like, okay, what about the life skills? And she's like, okay, just go to the teacher, because she gave me a form. They had to fill it out, sign it. So I went to the main teacher, Mr. Northerner, and I was like, hey, do you think, and he was like, yeah, let me talk to the other teachers, because there was 3 different teachers. And so I came in, and he gave me the sheet, and I gave it, and they're like, okay, you start next week. Okay, I had to mentally prepare myself. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And so on the first day, I was so excited, and I met all these kids, and I decided to stay in one classroom, my destination classroom. Unless they needed me in a different classroom, that was fine. But I remember being in there, and they were so happy to to see me
Well,
every
the
single
thing,
day.
the really cool thing about this situation is that some of them are autistic. And they're a different level of autistic. And it's in the autism community, they don't like you to say high functioning
Or low
or
functioning.
low functioning. It's seen
Oh,
as
yeah.
offensive.
Right.
But also, it really discounts these higher functioning kids, for lack of a better words, because people treat them like they're normal kids acting bad. They almost get the worst end of it at school and in public because they seem not autistic.
Right.
They don't
know?
fit into your little box that you think that autism is.
Exactly. And so she
Right.
started it, and she rode the SLE bus because she had a hard time with like the sound.
Loud and the vibrations of the bus.
Yeah, she already had a hard time with cars. So they got to see her on the bus. They knew she was an SLE. They knew she was autistic. And she's on the drill team. And she's like, did student council.
Well, I
And
used
she
to be on
did-
the drill team. I quit my junior year.
But you
of
know
high
what I
school.
mean.
Yeah, I
Like,
know what
she
you mean.
was doing normal high school activities,
Like,
FFA.
and choir, like all
choir.
these things.
And they fed off of it because they saw that was real. I mean, you can see they look up to that. And they're like, she's got autism and she's doing all of that.
Right.
And it really made them really look up to her. And
I
think-
bet that helped inspire them and give them hope. And
Exactly. So, like, on my mom's birthday of this past year, they invited me to the Dallas Zoo with them. And I was so excited. It was on a B-Day, and I knew that finals were coming up. So I had to ask all my teachers, plus I had to get permission from my SLE teacher. He didn't care. My SLE teacher didn't care. We loved him, And so I went to the teacher, all my B-Day teachers, and they're like, yeah, we're doing nothing, like, at all. So I came it was her birthday. I came in, I had all the stuff, I was ready to go. All the kids were so excited. So I was designated a group, and
she was in charge of kids.
yeah, and
That's
so
awesome.
I brought money, but I brought a lunch too.
So you realize that what you were doing is what Kelly does for a living.
yep.
I absolutely loved it. I haven't been to the Dallas Zoo since I was a sophomore. So I got to experience that. And then when we came back to the school, it was near last period. But the teacher was like, do you just want to stay in here since the teachers know you were gone all day? I was like, yeah, sure. So I checked in with my B8, which was science. And they're
We
like,
don't need to get too detailed.
yeah, but
You got to just get to the point of what you liked about the event.
my favorite part was definitely coming back, relaxing, rewinding. And we watched a movie.
Yeah.
And then you picked me up and you're like, how was your day? And I was like, good. But at the same time, she was upset. So I don't.
I have no idea. Let me tell you right now, this is autism. That my birthday is January 27th. I had no idea this was on my birthday, and she remembers that.
Yeah.
B, I have absolutely no clue why I might have been upset. We'll not go into that because she
No.
probably remembers to the T. Her memory skills,
Yeah.
They're amazing.
There you go, right there.
they're pretty impeccable. And but I mean, y'all get the idea. Just listening to her, she really thinks about everything. She really absorbs everything. So you can imagine what these other kids are doing and absorbing
Right.
that are not as high functioning and don't get the opportunities she gets. So I had 4 kids, 2 without being on the spectrum,
Right.
2 on the spectrum.
Right.
She's my only kid that wanted to do anything in school. I was a class officer. I did cheerleading. I did drill team. I was a mascot. I was in theater. I was in one act. I did
She was in
everything.
basketball also.
Yeah, I like doing everything.
Right.
None of my kids did except her. And I thought how funny it was that if she wasn't autistic, can you only imagine how much crazier it would have been with her? She'd probably be on the news right now as like an anchor already. Like that's how driven she is. But this autism isn't what it looks. It isn't what you think it is. There's just different level. That's why it's called a spectrum disorder because it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Right.
So you get a kid that are adult. Autism's all over the place.
Right.
You get in a kid or an adult that has a hard time with sounds or vibrations or lights in a certain way, or they need structure. They need a plan. They need whatever. And then you have other kids that can't talk and can't walk. It's just all over the place. But it's all over the place. It's not Rain Man. And unfortunately, most people think it's Rain Man. And Rick is one of those people. So before he met me and dated me, in his head, autism was Rain Man. And he tells me all the time, I've learned more from Zaylee than I've learned from anything else in life, or more from you and Zaylee than anything else in life. Because I didn't know this could be so difficult but rewarding at the same time. And so I really just, when we talked about having her on the show, I'm trying to like pull it in. But when we talked about being on the show, it's just the fact that it's just a different evolution and it's different. So now this is the week that the kids go off to college. Most kids in Texas started college this week.
Right.
My kindest stepdaughter, Rick's daughter, she goes back for her sophomore year on Saturday and moves into her dorm.
Most of my friends are gone. You know,
They all left this week.
They all left this week, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And she didn't get to. She didn't get to leave this week.
No, and I'm kind of happy that I'm still home because that gives me the chance to like talk to mom about what I want to do, what I want to like. I need advice before anything because
You need a longer transition time than other people do.
Yeah.
Right. And is it a good idea to send her off to that world yet?
no.
Especially when she knows that she doesn't need it.
No,
That's
we
good.
were going to start her in junior college because she makes great grades. Zaylee's very smart. She's very dedicated to her classes. And we were going to put her in junior college for the first semester. That was the plan. And then her and I kind of came together about a month and a half ago. And I was like, girl, I think you need to stay home for a semester and we need to figure stuff out.
Yeah, I was like,
She was relieved. She was like, I agree.
Because I felt like that was a weight on my shoulder. Like I had an expectation for college. I mean, I already applied to the college. I already was
She got accepted.
But I was just like, and the transcripts were already there. I was just like, I can't physically or mentally do this. Like I'm just not ready for change yet. Like I'm transitioning from high school to college. Like I'm not ready for that. I heard it's harder. I heard the professors aren't as nice. I heard a lot of things. So I'm just like, no, I need to like derail myself, just get my mental health where it needs to be. And I told mom when we were like out of town, like mom and her, like she said a month and a half ago or whenever, Mom, I just don't think it's right for me to go to college just yet. It doesn't have to be a year. It could be next semester. It doesn't have to be this semester. But I just don't think I'm physically and mentally ready for this.
Yeah.
And being an adult is already scary enough for me.
And that's why I kind of wanted to have her discuss this, because there are a lot of other people with kids that are even not autistic, just kids that have different mental health issues or neurological issues, maybe physical issues.
Yeah.
And everybody preaches and pushes college and go and do this and do that. But
For sure.
sometimes as a parent, you have to not do that.
Got to pull back those reins a little bit.
So that's where we are. And she's doing very well.
I think so myself.
If she would just clean her room.
Oh my gosh, that's just across every teenager
For
in the
sure.
world.
Let me tell you,
Every teenager in the world needs to go and clean their room right now. Just do
my
it.
older daughter was a clean fanatic. Am I wrong?
No,
She
she would
was-
make me clean, literally.
I never had to tell when she lived at home, I never had to like get on the kids to do the dishes or clean the house because Zoe
That
took
was
care of it.
all
Zoe's
her.
job, I didn't give her this job. Zoe took it upon herself to keep everybody in line.
Yeah.
As an adult,
Oh my God.
the girl's a mess.
Yeah, like
Like I have to get onto her every time I go to her place. I'm like, girl, clean up
Yeah.
after yourself. It's so crazy how much it's changed. So with Zaylee, I'm like, let's not push you off till you're ready. We can take a little time. Just stay at home a little longer.
because Zoe and Zane already stress a lot about like money and
Yeah,
about jobs.
it's very
and just-
stressful.
It's stressful, and
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
is.
like I see them stressing and struggling, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to struggle like that.
So
right
what's
now.
your advice? What's your advice to other either parents or listeners that have autism? You had one piece of advice, because we're going to tie this up in a second. If you had one piece of advice as someone who's autistic, what would you tell new parents, particularly, that they could do to help their kid?
Just be patient. Be patient with time. Time will heal. As a kid, I never thought I would get this far. So just take your time. Be patient with the kid, even though they drive you insane. Just be patient. Time will tell if that person is going to make great things in the world.
And my advice as a mom of an autistic child, I'll give my little piece of advice, is to be okay with not being the norm and to brag about it.
Yeah.
It's
Because
always
I'm going to
good.
tell you, my thing was I had two choices when she was diagnosed autistic. I had two choices. I could hide my head in the sand and pretend like that didn't happen, and everything was normal and there was no problem, or I could be really proud of her.
Right.
So I decided to go with really proud.
Well, it's hard not to be really proud of her. She's pretty
I
great.
agree. But, you know, her life compared to my life at her age is much more challenging, and she's overcome it. And how can you not be proud of that?
It was so hard. I mean, being on drill team made me feel like I was normal, but at the same time, it was so mentally draining. Like every night, I was so worried about getting in trouble. I was so worried about the expectations. And Mom's like, Zayla, are you sure you want to do this for much longer? And this was like my beginning of junior year, and I'm like, no, I can't do this
and
anymore.
it's okay. It is okay.
You gave it a go. So that's
I
great.
did it from freshman year to junior year, and I told,
She made co-captain.
That's awesome.
yeah, but the girls were so mean. Like, so mean. Like, they were like,
I believe you.
Zayla, yeah, I get that you were on this team for like 3 years, but I'm in charge, the main captain. And I was like, okay, like, you know what you're doing. Like, you're a newbie and I'm an oldie. So
You know what? This weekend, this is off subject. We're about to change subjects, but this weekend, I'll get into this in a minute. Well, I might have already gotten into it the way we're doing this in order.
Yeah.
But Zoe and I went somewhere, and Zoe, we were in Austin, and every time she saw someone that looked like a tourist, those damn tourists.
Meanwhile, you are a tourist.
I was born in Austin. I'm less a tourist than her. I was like, girl, you just moved here 3 years ago. 4 maybe. Chilled out. I was
so
born
funny.
here in the 70s.
That's so funny.
Anyways, Zaylee, thank you for joining us and giving us a little glimpse. And I realize it might have been a little bit all over the place.
definitely, for sure.
But that's autism.
like,
I love it.
I was like thinking in my head, what else to talk about? But then I was like, I don't want to waste their time.
You're never wasting your time.
I have a couple of they're short questions. They're not long drawn out questions, so you can just answer them. So one of them is, what would you do if your mom gave you a yes day?
Oh, yes. She
Just
doesn't.
shoot off a couple of things that you would do if she gave you a yes day, couldn't say no.
As a kid, I had mommy-daughter dates, and I would definitely have that again. I loved them.
Where would you go?
Well, I don't know. We would go shopping, or we do the things that we used to do, get our nails done, or a pedicure, or anything like
But
that.
you still get those things. They're just not mommy-daughter dates. It's just the older two kids moved out, and they're every day.
Yeah, they're every day. But when I got
It is nice when you have 4 kids and you get a one-on-one day.
Oh yeah,
That's what I would definitely want. But yeah, for a yes to, if she said yes to everything I did, it would probably end up in a disaster.
But what would you say? What would you pick? 2 things you'd want to do the most.
I have to think about this. I would definitely want her to say yes to letting me like go like out to eat with her like we normally do. But like she cooks a lot, so I'm just like we save money that way, and I'm kind of glad that we eat like homemade food. But I would like to go out to eat, and then other than that, I would love to get a pedicure because I love them. I mean, I'm not
Deluxe pedicure. Here we come.
We do get pedicures on occasion.
On occasion.
Actually, every time I'm like, you want a pedicure, she ends up getting a manicure, and she likes to get these fake nails that are stupid.
Well,
Last time I got a pedicure was with my aunt, and it was so amazing because my feet were. I don't want to talk about that.
All right.
Okay.
Next question is, what are some of your fashion faves right now?
Fashion faves. Definitely the early 2000s looks. And then definitely bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms. Nice.
Mom raised me well. My mama raised me well.
And I will say she's really funny because she wears a lot of my clothes, and she can rock some cutoffs.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. And are you currently crushing on anyone?
Crushing on anyone? No.
No crushes?
I mean, I'm trying not to be boy crazy. I don't want to be boy crazy.
How's that going?
I'm encouraging it.
I mean, like, honestly, I don't have any devices at all, so I don't talk to anybody.
We removed the devices in the summer.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But
We're trying to focus on us, and we can't do that with devices in the way.
I get it.
exactly, and I'm like, if I did have a crush, last crush I had was back before I graduated, and it's funny because I've known the person since 4th grade, since we moved to Waxahachie, but he was so mean.
No.
And now
I'm
he's
just like-
nice.
I don't even know. He was on the baseball team.
So you're crushing on
that's
somebody you don't
why.
even know is nice?
Well, they don't have to be nice for you to crush on them.
Yeah, but I knew his mom.
That's true. Have you met Rick?
His mom.
Damn it.
His mom worked at the high school, And
Okay, I know who it is. Say no more.
no. It was the transitioning lady's son.
Okay, got you.
He
We're
was,
getting very specific.
he was really cute, but
So there's not
I'll
like
tell
a
you.
famous person you're crushing on?
Oh yeah, do you have a celebrity crush?
a celebrity. You guys might laugh at this, but Sam and Kat, my stepsisters, got me into Twilight recently.
Oh, I love me some Twilight, girl.
Okay,
I'm
you're
a
loud,
Twilight.
girl. You're louder than me.
I'm sorry.
excited.
But definitely
Sorry,
Robert Pattinson, the person that plays
Pattinson,
Edward.
yeah, you're an Edward
He's so
fan.
cute.
Which is so crazy because I feel the opposite about him.
Me too.
Zoe, this weekend, we saw a guy that she thought was cute. And she was like, oh my God, that's my type. And I was like, which one? And she points and I was like, no, which one? And she was like, that one. I was like, no, the one on the right? She was like, no, the one in the middle I'm pointing at. I was like, no, it's not.
Why?
What's wrong with you? She was like, it's the face tattoo, Mom.
Damn it.
Should have known he had a face tattoo.
What, like Post Malone?
She, well,
Hey,
you know
I
what?
like me
Don't
some
even
Posty.
knock some posty.
Okay, I like me some Posty.
I'd be okay with being Posty's mother-in-law.
That's true.
I'd have no problem. He has a kid now. It's okay. We'll have a step grandbaby.
Yeah, wow.
No problem.
Wait, he does?
Yes.
I
Keep
never
up with
knew
your current events.
Yeah. Well, she can. She doesn't have a device.
Exactly.
That's your own bad.
Well, that's all. Thank you, Zaylee, for being on with us. We have
No
It's been a lot of fun.
No problemo.
No problemo.
She also speaks fluent Spanish.
Maybe we can have you back on again whenever you do decide to venture off into college.
There you go.
For sure.
get a
Thank you
update.
guys for having me.
Yeah,
Genuinely,
thanks.
it's been funny because I listen to y'all's podcast all the time. I'm just like, man.
My kids all listen to it except for Zol. Zol
so
doesn't
funny.
listen.
That's good.
and they all have funny commentary on it. And Zane and his girlfriend listen to it.
Even
And-
my godmother, who's Christian, listens.
Hey, we
to-
love the Christians.
Christian. I might be a Christian too.
She was just like, Zada, you are absolutely the funniest person. And she's like, you listen to my podcast?
I was a little embarrassed, to be honest with you, because I really look up to the lady.
Yeah, anyways.
But whatever, it's funny because my son is like, Maddie, his girlfriend makes him listen. She listens, and he is like, I don't really want to listen because A, I've heard all these stories, and B, you're my mom, and sometimes it's and he goes, well, Maddie makes me listen, and he goes, and you don't talk about me as much as the other kids. I was like, well, you're not. You don't have any issues. You're real easy. I know, but you have noticed you talk about Maddie, his girlfriend, more than me. She appreciates that. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, I tell my friends at work that my mom does podcasting and that kind of stuff, and they think it's crazy. They're like, your mom? Yes, it's
Yeah, where
me.
did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for joining us, Zaylee, and we'll have you another time. And
Love you.
All right, we love y'all. So what else you got? Anything else?
I do have a couple of emails I want to read real quick before we go. Let's see. I have one from Kimberly. Now this one is a little bit older because I wanted to read it. This was a reply to the last time I shared one of my poems. So she said, hello, just writing to say thank you to Kelly for sharing another beautiful poem with us. This was from some of your most personal and vulnerable moments. Young love, first loves can sometimes be bittersweet. I couldn't help flashing back to my own, which was definitely more bitter than sweet. The only sweet thing that came from it was my daughter, who is now experiencing a breakup of her own at 24. That was quite a roller coaster. She married a guy that was definitely not my choice for her, but it was her decision, and I loved and supported her through it, praying that someday she would realize she was deserving of better. While this day came, I only wish it would not have crushed her heart in the process. As a mom, we want nothing but the best for our children. Sometimes it is hard to know when to stand on the sidelines and when to go on the field and go to battle. She has been separated for almost a year, and she is now thriving and living her best life, which is what your 20s are all about, in my opinion. Again, thank you for sharing, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. So thank you so much, Kimberly. That was an awesome message. I really like to hear
That is awesome.
from the perspective of our listeners. That's a lovely story. Thank
It's
you
a
for
really,
sharing that with
really
us.
hard thing as a mom. It is a really hard thing when you see your child with somebody that maybe they're not the right fit for, but you have to shut your mouth because they're an adult. It's not your business.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that my kid's in that situation, but Zoe on occasion has been in that situation where I'm like, girl, no, what are you doing?
What are you thinking,
But it's
girl?
not my place.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's a fine line.
Yeah, it is.
Zaylee knows. I've let her know. But it's hard because my mom put her nose in it, and so I married him. I'm not kidding. Don't do it, parents. Keep your mouth shut. What else you got?
So, and then I have a message from Julie. She messaged us, our OG, bless your hearter. She messaged us.
I know, Julie.
We love her. So her first message was, hi, Kelly. Hi, and Zada too. Just wanted to send you a quick email to lift your spirits. I hope your foot is already doing better and you're not in pain. Crutches really suck. So hopefully you're in a walking boot or have a knee scooter or you don't have to go through.
Ooh, get a knee scooter. That's a good idea.
I really, as soon as she said that, I was like, why didn't I think of getting a knee scooter?
Yeah, I like it too. I'll look on Facebook Marketplace for you.
Yeah, she's like, just wanted you to know I've been thinking about you and sending healing energy and prayers. Y'all give us so much joy and laughter with the podcast. I just wanted to reach out and send y'all some email love. Lots of love from one of your OG bless your hearters, Julie. Press that button for me. We don't have our button over here, but Zada, say it.
Bless your heart. Yeah, we're still on the restaurant side. If you can't hear all the music and noises.
Yeah, you still have that ambiance going on.
I was taking his time. I'm starting to think he likes it over here because of the window.
I mean, it's kind of a good location, but if we're going to keep it over here, we need to close this off.
I know, right? Right? That's what I'm saying. But thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for reaching out to us. It really
Yes, I appreciate it.
like
I
hearing from
love
you.
my emails.
But anything else? We've gone on for a minute, man.
Yeah.
We can talk.
Yeah, we can.
So I
don't
guess
know why
y'all
we're
can join us
surprised.
again next week.
Yes.
Maybe we'll try to sneak 2 next week.
Yeah,
we owe y'all one.
We do. And hopefully we'll get this foot situation squared away. And
Yeah. And I have surgery the 8th, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to take a week off with that. But you never know. I'll have so much time on my hands if I'm not drugged up.
that's true,
I'll wobble my ass in here.
right?
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll keep y'all updated for sure.
All right. But that's it for today.
Oh,
Unless you got something.
let's throw out our
Yes. So Kelly on Instagram.
So, and I do have a little bit of a announcement. I have a big girl phone again.
You do? I just realized
I
that.
went and got me another iPhone because I figured if I'm going to be laid up for a couple of weeks, I want a phone that I can actually entertain myself on.
Smart. That's why you posted your Instagram thing on.
Yeah.
I forgot my password Instagram, so I'm not on Instagram anymore.
Oh no.
I don't know how to get in it.
Oh no.
sad day.
You pulled a me.
I did. I thought my normal one would work. It didn't. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm not
on Instagram, I'm Kelly Lady Pearl, and I also now since I got my iPhone, I reopened up my Snapchat, so it's the same.
That's what I meant. Snapchat is the one I can't get in. I'm on Instagram. I can't get into Snapchat.
It's the same thing on Snapchat. It's Kelly Lady Pearl on Snapchat, so you can add me on either one of those if you would like to.
Look at you with 2.
I know, right? Moving on up.
Okay, well, Snapchat's the one I forgot how to log into, but I'm on Instagram as The Mamacita and on Facebook as Zada Owens.
And if you'd like to email the podcast, it is 2sidesandthetruthpodcast@outlook.com.
So y'all send us a message, and thanks for listening. And please share and like and comment and all that.
We haven't
good
got a
stuff.
review in a long time, and I really like reading our reviews. So
Unless you're going to be an asshole and just keep that shit to yourself. Nah, keep that shit to yourself. We got a broken foot and a broken hernia.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Be praying for us.
Keep your shit to yourself. No. She's like, pray for us. I'm like, fuck you. And your mom.
Those
No,
are
kidding.
the 2 sides right there. I tell you, there's no better representation of what this is all about.
I know. That sums me up. So I'm the evil one. No.
All right. Just remember, there are always 3 sides to every story.
2 sides and the truth.
Bye,
Bye y'all.